Deuteronomy chapter 14. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 14. Deuteronomy chapter 14. Let me see if I want to go up a little bit. We're gonna read the last verse in chapter 13. So we'll read into chapter 14. Our beloved, remember we're getting close to the land. All right. This is why we was getting all these laws and instructions to how we are supposed to deal and conduct ourselves in the land. Okay. So remember last chapter he was talking about the prophets and how we deal with the prophets, how do we identify a prophet, those kind of things. Right? But let's go to verse 18. All right, it's Deuteronomy chapter 13. And we're gonna go to verse 18. I think we lost our reader, so we're gonna give it a second or two. So once again, these are instructions for well, not just when you get to land, because they applying those right then and there, but when we go to land, we're supposed to already know how we're supposed to be conducting ourselves. Okay? Because there's things that spiritually tied with the land, that the land can actually, it's kind of written, it can reject you, right? It kicked out those before that were not doing well in the land, right? And so we get in there, we didn't want to do the same thing, even though we did. But the Most High was giving us the way to prosper there, right? All right, we got to read her back. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 13, and you can read verse 18. So we're going to be at Deuteronomy chapter 13, and we're going to read that back. Read that last verse in chapter 13. That's verse 18.
Thou shalt hearken to the voice of Yahweh thy God to keep all his commandments, which I command thee this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of Yahweh thy God.
So one of the simple things we can get, simple principles we can get is that what? To know that last part, to do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord. Because when we do certain things, beloved, we always think, well, if I see it as right, right? If I can comprehend it in my mind, I feel it's right, that makes it right. No, he does not. He never had counsel with us and say, what you think about this? How you think this is? You think this is right? He don't ask us. He just delivers, all right? He just delivers what is supposed to be done. If you want to know what right is, he already showed you how you get it. When thou should hearken or listen to the voice of Yahweh thy God, what is the voice of talking about? These commandments and statutes and law that he's bringing out to keep, actually tells you, to keep or guard all his commandments. I command thee this day. You want to know what's right? The commandments are right. And this is what Brother Paul was bringing out. Commandments are holy, they're just, they're good, right? This is why. So if you want to know if you are doing what is right, not according to a brother or sister's point of view, okay? But if you want to know what's doing right according to the God of the universe, this is what is right. You don't have to doubt it. You don't got to think hard about it. This is what is right. Okay? And the problem is a lot of people are trying to create their own righteousness. Okay? When man is put in charge of creating his own righteousness, we always going to jack something up. It's going to have a lot of leaven in it, a lot of unclean things in it, even if we don't intend to. Right? The only good that we have is what? From the Father. All right? So we're being subject to what he deems as good and right, and we're supposed to just submit ourselves to it. That's all he asks us to do. All right? Not analyze it, try to see what's right or wrong with it. Nope. All right, we're just supposed to accept and apply to our lives. All right, chapter 14. Brother Kai, you can read verse 1 and 2. Verse 1 and 2. View a few spots from there.
Ye are the children of Yahweh your God. Ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy God, and Yahweh hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth.
All right, let's look at that first verse. All right, that first verse. Ye are the children of Yahweh your God. All right, that should be straightforward, straight to it. Right, again, making a point. This is who you are, beloved. When you know who you are, halftime that answers a lot of questions. Right, if you know who you are, you know what your role and responsibility is. Are you supposed to? It's supposed to give direction. This is why the first thing, a lot of when our enemies, they want to take away who we are, our identity. If I take away your identity, then I can place you with anything, or you will feel like you don't belong to anything. So you'll be walking through this life as a nomad. You will walk through this life without no direction, without no guidance, without nothing that it feels attached to you, no sense of belonging. That's what they have done. But what God is doing and has been doing is what? Trying to what? Give us understand our identity so we know what we're supposed to be doing. Okay. So ye are the children of Yahweh. All right. And he's your God. You have to know that. You got to believe that. This is what Christ was coming on the scene saying when he said, teach how to pray. He said, our Father. You have to know that first. When we start reading, you need to know that he is your God. Or you're always going to place so much distance like it's some fairy tale. No, you got to understand he's your God. And when you're reading this, it's like he is talking to you because it was made for you. Stop thinking it's made for this person. It's made for you. And when we start to take this thing personal to us, then we will see these things being applied in our lives. Okay. So it says, ye shall not cut, all right, yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. Okay. So there is another reference, talks about this, but I want to grab some spots as well. Okay. Let's go first to Leviticus 19. If anybody want to bring other ones out, you can. I just have two or three I want to address. Leviticus 19, and let's jump down to verse 27. All right, we're going to Leviticus 19. All right, we're dealing with a lot of laws and stuff. And I want us to go to chapter 19, Leviticus 19, and jump down to verse 27. All right, matter of fact, go to 26 because it's in between two laws, just so we see that this is still very applicable.
Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment, nor observe times.
Right, that's still good today, right?
Hmm.
Christ didn't die so we can start drinking blood, okay? And now we can observe times and use enchantments. No, he didn't die for that. So when they go into these laws and all, he just done away with this. You gotta tell him he did away with that. We can drink blood now. Let's keep going.
Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard.
Hmm.
Ye shall not make any cutlings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh.
All right. So one thing I want to get us to look at addressing, and Brother Kai did make emphasis on it. All right. So the corners of your heads, a lot of this they would say is it was part of paganism practice. I don't know
Right.
exactly how that would look. So, 'cause people cut their hair. We got pictures where people cut their hair, so that was never a problem with cutting your hair. All right, mar the corners of your beards. That's like destroying it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will keep our beards. A lot of times you'll see it in our culture we keep it. A lot of I know Egypt, a lot of times they had their hairs kind of cut. Romans, right, which we kind of they cut it, keep it close shave. But for us, we would have those beards and everything, and it's more of a sign when becoming of a man, right? If you can't grow a beard, you don't have to put a fake one on or nothing like that. No, it's just saying don't just be destroying it, okay? But like I said, don't give the length or anything like that. So just We'll just try to keep it here. Verse 28, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. All right. That's very important because there must have been a practice that they were cutting themselves for the dead. Okay. Now, we don't just cut ourselves for nothing as well. All right. It says, nor print any marks upon you. Okay. So the cutting was something that was connected to some paganism. Okay. Is what I'm putting together. When he comes out of, when they came out of Egypt, remember, they had a lot of different things they were seeing. Even how the Egyptians worship their God and something, beloved, if you see something over and over and over again, a lot of times you'll what? You'll bring that practice in. If you've been far away from your God, how to deal with certain things, you only learning this from what you're seeing. So of course they look at those priests, look at everything, and they'll grab that and bring that in. Okay. How do they deal with death and all? They'll bring that in. Okay. So they were making cuttings in their flesh for the dead. Okay. So once again, we do not treat death even with the same mindset of like the unbelievers. Okay. Cutting yourself to death, that's doing nothing. Okay. I'm sure there's a reason why the heathens might have did it. I didn't look fully into that history, but we don't need to be making no cuttings um, for the dead. Okay. Even for the living, we shouldn't be cutting ourselves. Okay. When Elijah, no, yes, yes. Elijah, remember when they was on the mountain and they was trying to get God's attention, what they started doing, right? They started cutting themselves. Okay. We can stay away from that stuff. All right. Not need to be cutting yourselves. Don't make no marks, nor printing upon your flesh. All right. However, we do have things like the earrings. That'll be something different. I see that in the scriptures. You can have that. All right. That wouldn't count as that because we see that. Okay, but other than like tattoos and stuff like that, nah, you need to stay away from those things. Okay, if you already have tattoos and stuff like that, I'm not going to tell you be overzealous and start marking it and trying to get it removed. No, if you had it already, you had it already. Okay, but no, moving forward, do not be trying to make it a tattoo appointment or anything like that. Okay, keep your vessel the way it is. Let's keep going. Let's go to the next one as well.
Next verse.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'll move from that. Where you was at?
Oh, I'm sorry. That verse 29. I want to get
And what book was it? I'm sorry. I had went to another book.
Leviticus. No,
I
it's
was
fine.
looking up some stuff.
Leviticus 19.
Okay.
I'm sorry, beloved. I'm
No,
still a
no,
little
you
bit under
good.
the weather, so I apologize. 19 and verse 29.
Okay, Con. Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
All right. This is one of my favorites when it comes to, oh, Christ came take that law out of there because it was too hard to do. I guess it was too hard to not make your daughter a prostitute. So Christ came and said, you know what? Free your daughters. Let them be prostitutes. That'll make sense. Does it, beloved? Mm-mm. Now we can let the land fall into whoredom. Because that's what he's saying. Do not prostitute your daughter to cause her to be a whore and the land to fall into whoredom. So that Christ comes, so now we can do these things. We can allow this to happen. The land become full of wickedness. Is that what Christ was doing? Probably not. So all these things look like they still have some weight. Okay. But read that verse 30. If these are falling into place and still hold weight, let's look at verse 30.
You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am Yahweh.
And so we should still be keeping the Sabbath, right? So once again, just showing these things, all right? Just showing these things. Let's go to another spot. Let's go to Leviticus 21. While we at 19, let's go to Leviticus 21. And so there's a lot of things. Definitely when it comes to the dead as well, we shouldn't be trying to that's what we talk about that enchantress and enchantment and stuff like that. You should not be going and seeking somebody, I don't know what you want to call them, soothsayers, witches, whatever, to try to conjure up a dead spirit and speak to you. No, okay, we do not do those things. All you're doing is opening yourself up to be deceived. All right, because we told you to not do it, and then you think you'll get a blessing from being disobedient. That's faulty thinking. Okay, so do not go for that. All right, 21 and verse 5. Leviticus 21 and verse 5.
Thou shalt not make baldness upon their head. They shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh.
Right. Now, this is dealing with we just dealing more with the priesthood, but you see they got the same thing according to them, okay, and how they can profane themselves. You kind of profaning yourself doing this, okay, and this was connected to there should not be defiled for the dead among his people. So with this, a lot of people will do this. They must be taking this ritual. And I'm guessing, like I said, they're coming from Egypt. They will probably do some of these things. They tell you, no, you're not going to do those things that you have been seeing done, especially when it's coming to the dead, right? I think there's another one as well, but I won't bore you out too much. Kai, would you looking for something? You said you move off. Did you have something you want to go to with this? With this?
Here shows in Jeremiah 47:5.
That's the okay. I know there's what
Yeah, a
Jeremiah
couple
16
more.
got one, I think, too.
Yeah, you got a couple of them.
So
Jeremiah, I
Jeremiah,
think 41 and 5 is a pretty good one. So
okay. Let's go to it. Let's go to it.
that there came certain from Shechem, from Shiloh, and from Samaria, even fourscore men, having their beards shaven and their clothes rent, and having cut themselves with offerings and incense in their hand to bring them to the house of Yahweh. Right. So we see here, I believe this was, they was being afflicted, and they
Mhm.
was bringing offerings, to Yahweh, but still that custom of cutting themselves, Yahweh never told them to cut themselves. That's something they had learned from the heathen, those practices.
And that's a great point, Brother Kai. Because when we're reading, beloved, the Bible is giving like history what's happening. It don't
Mm-hmm.
always tell you I'm ending it for this. Like, so some people read this like, oh, but they was cutting themselves for dead. No, that's what people were doing. It's not what this ain't
Right,
saying what God co-signing on. This is why you have to
right,
know the laws. Okay. You looking at, oh, David took Bathsheba, so that means the whole law. No,
right.
it's just wrong. That's it, beloved. But the
Mm-hmm.
Bible is telling you the good, bad, and ugly. But you're using the laws and stuff as the moral compass. What people are doing, you just got to filter through the law to see if it was something that was acceptable to God. Okay, so you will see certain things. We're always in Israel picking up certain things, certain pagan practices. We never, really fully kicking it out, right? Just like if all of us, right, all of Israel, we went back to our land, right? Some jokers would probably still be doing what things they were seeing over here. Okay, so this is things that do happen, but it's our job to analyze: is this right or acceptable in God's eyes? Okay. All right. You had anything else, Brother Kai?
Yeah, Jeremiah 47:5.
Seven.
What's going on here is judgment is coming against Gaza, via Babylon and the Chaldeans, you know. So it's a question being asked here. It says, baldness has come upon Gaza. Ashkelon is cut off with the remnant of their valley. How long wilt thou cut thyself? See, this is where Israel learned these things from. They learned them from the heathen. Also, with Elijah, right? When he was going against the 400 prophets, didn't they
Mhm.
cut themselves from morning all the way to the afternoon? Blood gushed down or something like that as well.
Yeah, that's all
Right,
I mentioned earlier that they was used. That was even for death.
right,
That was to get God's attention, but
right.
by a pagan practice.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And beloved, this is This is how easy it gets. But if you have another one, you can bring it out. But
Uh,
this is how easy it gets. We don't realize like pagan practices, they get incorporated so easily. We just don't realize it. Somebody brings something in there, nobody thinking about it or taking the mind, and just the next generation sees it and they'll just apply it, and then be like, get so far down the line, you'd be like, man, why are we doing this? I don't know.
mhm.
We've been doing it for years, right? You certain things you don't even pick up if you didn't witness it. Like how we do, and I would say Israel as just people, right? You just look at the churches, and I'm talking about these so-called churches as a whole. They have church customs and kind of like yeah, customs and rituals or traditional things and practice stuff that a lot of things be against the word of God. But you think it's right because that's all you've been exposed to, and they label it as righteousness. Okay, so be very, very careful and mindful of what we're picking up. There's certain things, beloved, that's just it ain't that having a tradition is wrong, but if it's going against the word of God, that's when it's an issue. Okay, it's the only time I have an issue if it's going against the word of God. All right. You had anything else, Brother Kai?
Yeah, Jeremiah 16,
Oh, the 16 one. All right.
yeah, verse 5. And as we can see here, they was doing this for a while. This became customary, the thing that they had learned from the heathen. You know, and I'm not saying all of them was wicked per se, but you can still be doing things you picked up from the heathen, but with good intentions, but it's not good. It's not our custom. You know, and it's something that the people just was doing, and they just went along with it after generation. They was doing this stuff for a long time here.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High warned them in the Torah, don't do these things, but we hard headed. We want to do these things. We want to be like the heathen. I'm going to start at verse 5, beloved.
Uh,
You want me to go up?
you could probably go to verse 4 just to get the death part.
Verse 4? Okay. All right. Come. It says, they shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth. And they shall be consumed by the sword and by famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth. Thus saith Yahweh, enter not into the house of mourning, neither go to lament for nor bemoan them, for I have taken away my peace from this people, saith Yahweh, even loving kindness and mercy. Both the great and the small shall die in this land. They shall not be buried, neither shall men lament for them, nor cut themselves, nor make themselves bald for them. Neither shall men tear themselves for them in mourning, to comfort them for the dead. Neither shall men give them the cup of consolation to drink for their father or for their mother.
Yeah. So if y'all know the context, he is getting on them. All right. He's actually saying you don't take a wife from here, don't take a son and daughter. It's about to be straight destruction happening. All right. There's gonna be a lot of deaths, and it ain't gonna be a lot of singing and songs or anything like that. Like he said, it's gonna be, and he's telling you what you can do. Like we're allowed to lament and bemoan, for somebody to the Lord say, don't do it. Because probably somebody that went too far. And sometimes we get emotional, and that could be an emotional thing. Don't get it wrong, but sometimes we get caught up on the wrong things, emotional about the wrong thing. All right, somebody being wicked and going against our God openly. Some of the people curse God and all that kind of stuff, and I ain't doing God after that, all the, and then they die. You get all emotional, like you don't know the judgment for it. And sometimes hopefully you told them the judgment of their actions. These are consequences. Now, don't go over there going all crazy when they have been going against the word of God. You've been trying to deal with them and they curse God, right? This is the consequences. So you bewailing like that can throw other people off. Okay? So you'll see, not in every case, beloved, right? And there's some people that go off and you still mourn over them. Don't get what I'm saying. I want people to think like, oh, they didn't serve God, so I ain't going to cry. No, not saying that, beloved. Okay. But Most High does take certain matters like this and saying, why? Even David was crying. Well, he was about to mourn over his son Absalom. I don't know if y'all remember what Joash told him, his captain told him. He said, David, you better stop. He said, people done fought this war for you. He over there, your son trying to take you out and kick you out and all this stuff. And these men put their lives on the line for you, and you mourning for him like that? Even probably more than your own men? I know that's your son. I know you love them. But he said, boy, this army can turn on you. Okay? The same thing with the priests. When they messed up and throwing up that strange fire, don't be mourning for them like this. Okay? So there's certain times where Most High would say, nah, don't mourn for him like that. And beloved, there might be certain times that happen. That's why you got to sometimes be prayerful. And don't think, oh, they're not boo-hooing. Oh, my kid, I booed her. Listen, Most High can told him, I'm gonna take back those tears from this situation. Okay, so this is why we want to judge righteously. Sometimes we gotta sit and pray because sometimes we are doing things that might not be in the way of the Most High, what He wants you to do. Sometimes these things are for examples. Okay, so I always say, before we get emotional about death, make sure you are over there trying to what? Win that soul. A moment after death is too late. You try to win that soul now. Because a lot of us mourn because of those missed opportunities. But if you care for them, reach out to them. You should be provoking them, not provoking, encouraging them to serve the Lord. Okay? So that's one thing I learned even with death and everything. You want to do it while you have a chance. Okay? Do it while they can hear you. The scripture says a living dog is better than a dead lion. Okay? Because dead lions are sitting there doing nothing. No matter how great he was, dead is done. Okay? So remember that. Brother Kai, you had anything else? We finished the spot you wanted here.
God. Yes, sir.
Anybody else had anything? Okay. Let's look at this verse real quick and then we're gonna go somewhere else. A lot of the chapter is dealing with like it's a list, so we ain't gonna do it. Let's explain it to the end. Okay. So verse 2, for thou art a holy people unto Yahweh thy God, and Yahweh have chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. Okay. That is telling us, okay, that he is what? He just gave us what? A level up over the nations. All right. He's saying, I've chosen you and elevated you over them. Okay. That doesn't mean that he don't care about anybody else, okay? Ever. He's saying, I lift you all above the other nations, okay? Let's go to Exodus 19. There's a reason he elevated us as well, but we're not going to dive into all that today. Exodus 19, and as you know, he's talking to Israel. Let's go to verse 5, all right? Exodus 19 and verse 5.
Now, therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
That's a key part. So that's conditional. If you obey my voice and keep my covenants, then, all right, if then you have to do this part to receive this part. Okay. So people are like, oh, I'm just Israel and I'm just chosen. No, 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 no. You have to obey his voice and keep his covenant. When you do those things, then you are the peculiar treasure and you're above all people, because what elevated you above them is what? The covenant that he made. He said he will be our God. We will be his people. That elevates you above everybody else. Okay? For all the earth is mine. All right? So this is something that the Most High has bestowed upon us. Now, verse 6, because this is not a period, this is going to bring more clarity to what was said before. Verse 6.
Ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
A kingdom. What kind of kingdom? A kingdom of peace. I'm sorry, of priests. All right. What do priests do? Priests are the ones that's what? Ministering to the people, teaching the people, showing them the instructions of the Lord. That's supposed to be what the job is. So if we're a kingdom, we're a kingdom of priests or a kingdom of teachers or minister servants, right? The point is, you it makes sense that you for a teacher, you need a what? A student. You need somebody to kind of show, right? So we were giving these covenants and understanding and obeying the voice because then that's going to give us a certain knowledge to now be able to what? Be priest and to teach. Okay? So we'll be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Okay? These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. This is where I'm saying you have to know your identity so you know what you are born to do. A lot of people have their whole life trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing. And if you ask in this world, all right, this wicked world, definitely this nation, right, what you're going to be doing, they're not pointing you to this. All right. Some people have tried to take this from us and then make us try to figure out something or claim some kind of identity or not even identity. Yeah, y'all over there. Your history is just slavery. That's it. Y'all just slaves. That's all y'all are. Like you was born a slave and all you got to do is serve. That's what they're trying to do. But this was for us. And it doesn't matter if somebody tried to take it from us. It was God given. You can't take what's God given. No matter how much you try to destroy it, guess what? We always come back to God. You'll see, even through that slavery, we have more of that spirituality than any other nation, any other people. We still trust it. Look at us. We still trust the Most High, even though we've been through so much, because it's in us. It feels safe, us, and we feel that attraction that we get through what? The Word of God. Like something, this belongs to us. Even when we were brainwashed to think it's not dealing with us, right? There was something that was always drawing us to it. Because what the Most High have for you is for you. Your job is you better decide if you're going to obey the Most High and do what He say or not. But you can spend this life chasing a dollar. That's what that's what this world want to do. Want you to chase that dollar, chase it your whole life. Then at the end, you might have caught the dollar. Guess what? Now it's time to be like that. I have no purpose or fulfillment. That fulfillment that we want to get is only coming from the Lord. It's not from the dollar. It's from this. Because He put an inkling in all of us, all right, to be this priest. And until we do our duty and our job, we'll never get the full fulfillment, all right? Whether you're teaching, whether we listen, right? Just being in that embodiment of the body, we have to have that, beloved. Or you're going to see we're going to suffer many things. All right. Long explanation. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 14. And there's other spots. I think the Deuteronomy 7, like, you have stuff where you'll be a special people and all those kind of things. So we should know that by now. All right, Brother Kai, let's do some reading. I'm going to let you kind of go for a while. All right, because we're going to start getting into that dietary law, which we know is found in Leviticus 11. Right? But go ahead, Brother Kai. Whenever you're ready.
These are the beasts which ye shall eat: the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the pygarg, and the wild ox, and the chalmeus, and every beast that parteth the hoof, and cleaveth the cleft into two claws, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that ye shall eat. Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the cloven hoof, as the camel and the hare and the coney. For they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean unto you. And the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass.
Yep. So
These,
this is once
okay,
again Leviticus 11 gives you the breakdown. They're just doing the same thing. They kind of just repackaging different, but it's the same thing. Okay, same steps and requirements for what we can eat. Let's keep going.
these ye shall eat of all that are in the waters. All that have fins and scales shall ye eat, and whatsoever have not fins and scales ye may not eat. It is unclean unto you. Of all clean birds ye shall eat, but these are they of which ye shall not eat: the eagle, and the ostrich, and the offspring, and the glede, and the kite, and the vulture after his kind, and every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the night hawk, and the cockle, and the hawk after his kind, the little owl, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gier eagle, and the cormorant, and the stork, and the heron after her kind, and the batwing, and the bat, and every creeping thing that flieth is unclean unto you. They shall not be eaten.
All right. So these things are unclean unto us. They are abominable for us to eat. Okay. So it's not that they are not that the animals are bad. All right. They
Mhm.
have a purpose. Do not go around saying, oh, swine is evil or swine is a bad thing. No, we just don't consume it. Pig is very important. Okay. A pig can refer, yeah, you can say refertilize and sometimes help when there's a lot of, sometimes when stuff is barren, like ground is barren, sometimes you put some pigs in there because they make a mess, right? But what they do, they can agitate the ground, and sometimes they'll agitate the earth, and it actually brings forth things, right? So that's very important. Okay. Also with disposable certain things, so we just can't consume it, but its purpose is still its purpose. A horse, don't consume it, but use it to travel. It's a beautiful traveling thing, right? So once again, we don't want to put it that the animal is bad itself. No, it's just we cannot consume it. It will defile us. That's it. All right. Everybody's good? Any questions or concerns with that? Let's keep going.
All clean fowls ye may eat. You shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it, or thou mayest sell it unto an alien. Thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk.
Oh man, the Bible's confirming the UFOs and the aliens. All right. Um,
Um,
No, beloved. Okay. So this will be as they say even nowadays, illegal aliens and stuff like that. This will be people outside. Okay. So the stranger that's in the gates, he may eat it and thou may sell it to aliens. Okay. So to the other people, okay, because they're not fully under it. However, there is a debate on what is the context of this. If this is talking about unclean things, like if it's a pig or something, do you can give that to the heathens and they all eat? I'm not fully convinced on that aspect of it. From what I look at on this verse, at least, ye should not eat anything that dieth of itself. Okay,
that's what
so
it
now
is.
talking about the aspect of how it dies. So this is my understanding, beloved. Okay. If if there's a lamb, right, we can eat a lamb. But if I come outside and my lamb is dropped dead, right? Yeah, think about blood. This is money back in the day. They like getting the fake meat and everything now. Lamb dying, it's like, whoa, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? So some people will look at it and say, oh, we gotta hurry up and kill it and consume it. I believe the Most High is saying, nah, if it died of itself, I don't know how it died, it just dropped dead, I can't eat it. I believe because what killed it can be harmful to us. That's my thing. Now, why would you give it to the others? I don't know exactly why the Most High is doing like that. Probably because it don't matter because they eat all the defiled stuff. A lot of them eating the defiled stuff anyway. So to eat something that dies, it's probably like, oh, that ain't nothing, you know. So this is what he has as the instruction. So I can't argue with it. There is another precept of why I'm saying like that as well. Leviticus 17. Leviticus 17. But I would not do that for any of my brothers. I wouldn't do that. No. But of course, when we was in control of that, nowadays when we eating and stuff, these animals could have died in themselves. We don't know what a lot of times what we getting, but we are in control of. We had animals and stuff like that. No, right? If I got a little farm or something, some of them die, I wouldn't now. Oh, this thing died. I don't know how it died. I'm gonna give it 20 y'all. No, we shouldn't do that. Leviticus 17. Did I give you a verse? I don't think I did I? 17 and go to verse 15. This is Leviticus 17 and verse 15.
Every soul that eateth that which died of itself, or that which was born torn with beasts, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. Then shall he be clean.
All right, so this is another one. Every soul that eateth that which is died of itself. Okay, so it appears like they ate of it. Now I don't know. Hopefully, it wouldn't be willingly. I would just explain it. But if something like that did happen, like you're going to be unclean, so you will not be able to go, do the sacrifice or anything like that. You'll be looked at somebody unclean. So this is talking about if it dies of itself. Also, if it was torn with beast. So I guess like a lion or a bear killed the lamb or whatever, you wouldn't consume of it either. All right. If you did. Now that you're a permanent sin, you will just have to do the instructions, right? You have to clean, wash yourself, and then you'll be clean at even when we were going to the temple and doing those things. Okay. All right. Anybody had anything they wanted to expound on with that? Like I said, to my knowledge right now, that's where I understand it. Okay. And he's saying that because you're a holy people, and so that how once again all these things to separate us from other people. Okay, but I looked at this a while ago. We used to have great conversations with this. Thou shalt not see the kid in his mother's milk. I'm guessing this might have been a practice that was done when the Most High says certain things specific like this. A lot of times I'm thinking it was something that was commonly seen in like done, which they probably picked up from another nation, and he's trying to say, no, you can't do that because that's very specific. See the kid in his mother's milk. So I guess that was probably a practice that someone were doing. And seething is like, cooking it. Okay. So they were cooking, I guess I should explain that first. This ain't talking about like a human kid. No, beloved. You can't cook a kid, can't kill nothing. All right, no humans. All right. But a lamb or whatever, you wouldn't do it like this. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Verse 22. All right. Shifting to another part.
Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bringeth forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before Yahweh thy God in the place which ye shall choose to place his name there, the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thine oil, and the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear Yahweh thy God always.
Right. So a tithe, 10%, all right, of all the increase of thy seed that the field bringeth forth year by year. So of course, you would have to have what? You would have a field or something. Okay. So if you were somebody that farmed and stuff like that, you will bring 10% of that yield. Okay. So if you have 10 corns that grew, you will take one out of the 10. Okay. And you will bring that. All right. That will be your tithe of the field. Okay. And thou shalt eat before Yahweh thy God. So some people don't realize that the tithe is actually for us to enjoy. Okay. There's some other parameters of it. But one of the big reasons for tithing is so we can actually eat. And where it says before Yahweh our God. We actually, that's all we say. It's almost like a date he has with his children. All right. These feasts were coming together, we eat it, but it's supposed to be a date. That's why we understand these are holy convocations. It ain't just holy convocation between us. No, the Most High is supposed to be there, right? The presence of God is supposed to be there. So the Sabbath, when we're that's the presence of God being with us. Okay? Any other annual feast, presence of God. So we should eat before Yahweh thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name there. Okay? We get further instructions on that later on. The tithe of the corn, so you grew corn, of the wine, because some people didn't have the field stuff. They was some people had the wine, oil, right? The first thing of the herds of thy flocks, okay? That thou mayest learn to fear Yahweh thy God, okay? Because once again, when you're dealing with the herds, you're not gonna get 10, you don't bear 10 cattle, you might get one or two, a couple of years, but you're not gonna get 10. So he's saying what? Give me the firstling, the best of it, okay? So we're gonna bring that. And is this supposed to be what? A learning thing. So we understand to fear God always. All right. When you put God first, it keeps a reverence in your mind. Okay. When I look at it, okay, I work, I do this. And then first thing I'm receiving, I'm like, all right, I gotta give something to the Lord. Okay. It keeps my mind always when I receive is like, all right, give to the Lord. So it's that once again, it's always building up a conscience, right? And a spirit within us because our spirit is supposed to be what? Just like Christ was. Always thinking about how to please the Father, always putting the Father first in everything we do. So that was the point of it. This is why we're supposed to be when we give, right? Whether it's tithe, whether it's offering, right? When we giving, it's supposed to be with a cheerful heart, right? Because we're supposed to be knowing why we're doing it. We're supposed to understand, no, the Lord has given to me. He gave me everything I have, and this is some basically appreciation offering I'm giving back to him, understanding that he is the reason I'm able to provide for myself. Okay, so I know that the world has tainted this so much, and that's why I don't even like talking about tithe stuff because they taint it so much. However, this is principles when we're dealing with the truth. Okay. If you feel, I tell a lot of people all the time, if you feel that your pastor or something or your church is stealing from it, then you need to remove yourself. If you think they're taking it and doing it, then remove yourself from that. Okay. But we know their stories and we know people robbing them, but some people want that show. Some people are just paying for the show. But for us that believe and know the truth, when we offer anything to the Most High, it should be out of sincerity and appreciation of what He's doing. All right. That's the fear, not the shivering fear, oh my God. But no, we are glad when we're able to do these things. And we're what? Enjoying it. Look at the beautiful thing. Anybody you just give all this money and then, only, deacon, do wrong and they the only ones getting all the benefits and you're paying their phone bill and their car, right? No, when you're doing this thing right, this is for the feast. That's why we don't gotta, come to feast. We gotta charge you $500 to get this. No, the tithes and everything. That's what it lays out and it performs for us. Okay, if you do it right, it's a beautiful thing, beloved. Okay, let's keep going. 24 and 25.
If the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it,
Mhm.
or if the place be too far from thee, which Yahweh thy God shall choose to set his name there, when Yahweh thy God hath blessed thee, then shalt thou turn it into money, and bind up the money in thy hand, and shalt go unto the place which Yahweh thy God shall choose. And
So, yeah, it's continuation. Go ahead. Yeah, you can just do it there.
thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, wherever thy soul desireth. And thou shalt eat there before Yahweh thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household.
All right. So the Most High have setting this thing up. Said, I understand some people are going to be too far. Okay. Um, and you might not be able to bring everything you have if it's a long distance, beloved. All right. For the person that don't have, all right, I'm just bringing somebody like this. I'm bringing this one sheep. All right, ain't bad. I'm going traveling. But let's say you have abundance. Most High bless you with abundance. I might not be able to drag. I might have 100 sheep. I want to bring, but that's a lot to try to get all the way there. So what he's saying is you can trade it. Let's say sheep are going for, I'm just throwing a price out, $100 per sheep. He said you can sell those sheep, get the money for it, and then just bring the money. All right. So he's being practical. I told you, God does a lot of things that's practical, beloved. Okay. Not the business is torturing people. Okay. So if it's too long for you, got a long travel, you're not trying to drag all that there. You know, you might lose some of them on the way. So that's what he's saying. If it's too long, you're not able to carry it. All right. Because it's too far, you understand that, then you should do this thing. All right. Um, verse 25, and it was the actual place they had to go to. All right. They like how the church and stuff like that, they had to go, all right, to the place where his name was at. Then shalt thou turn it into money, like we just said, bind up the money in thy hand, yep, and go into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. All right. So I had 100 sheep and I got $100 for each one. Okay. So I'm bringing that money with me. Okay. Verse 26, what do we do with that? Oh, I think you read that. Thou shalt bestow that money. Listen what you're doing with the money. That tithes. All right. You should bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. All right. Remember, I told you lust is not bad, as you a lot of times is used as a bad connotation behind it, but lust is a strong desire. So that money you can use for whatever your soul desires. Okay, if you want to get oxen with that money, right? You got them $1,000, right? That you know that money that you got, you can what? You can buy oxen. You can buy sheep. If you want wine, get wine. Okay. If you want a strong drink, get a strong drink. Just don't be getting drunk. Okay, but you can get a drink or for whatsoever thy soul desire, whatever you have, in the mood for. Of course, if it's according to the law, because you got some wicked brothers out here thinking you can buy prostitutes and stuff like that, because no, you just wicked. Okay? But as long as it's in the confinement of the laws, beloved. Okay, this is not talking about getting a pig or stuff like that. No. Okay. But if you somebody, oh, I want to get cakes and you go and get it. All right, because this is supposed to be a glorious event. When you think about it, beloved, we're coming in. The thing the Lord is saying, Lord, I don't need it. All right, He's a Father that has the whole world. He don't need nothing from us. He used this opportunity that now we can all rejoice, and there ain't nothing better than what come together and you getting everything you want. Right? You going out, man. They have my favorite dishes there. See, you can do that. That's what the Most High is saying. Get your favorite thing. Right? Might you like get some chocolate, Michael? That's what you want. I haven't had steak in a while, but go and grab that steak. Okay, so this is what the Most High is doing. It's a beautiful thing, beloved. He's making this mandatory. Okay, thou shalt rejoice, thou in thine house. I'm sorry, thou shalt eat before your house, thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou in thine house. So the whole house, we all enjoying it. We supposed to be. This is why we really understand what's going on. We supposed to look forward to this. The heathens kind of, even though they're doing the wicked sense, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hijack how we are supposed to do it. They call their holidays the holy days. That's why how they doing Christmas. That's, everybody like, oh, they in a good mood. People forgiving people. They being all nice. They looking forward to it. It seems like a spirit kind of come about it. Yes, even though it's a little bit delusional in a sense, that's what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to be looking forward to these feasts. Coming together. We about to have fun. Yes. It's serious in the knowledge that we're getting there, beloved. But beloved, he wants you to enjoy it. That's why he said, get what your soul desires. Okay? All right, let's keep going. You finish it up, Brother Kai.
And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him, for he have no part nor inheritance with thee. At the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shall lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite, because he have no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and eat and be satisfied, that Yahweh thy God may bless thee in all the work of thy hand which thou doest.
So we would have different tithes. It's like a tithe. Of course, our feast, we had tithe that we get to like the Levites, the stranger, and everything. There's a tithe, I believe, for the priests. Forgot it right, yes. Okay. So every 3 years, not every year, all right, the end of 3 years, you'll bring the tithes for them. So you're taking care of the Levites because remember, they don't have a land spot. Okay, remember all the brothers had a land. You got Reuben over here, Simeon over here, Gad, Asher, Issachar. But Levite is scattered amongst them. Okay, so they don't have a field and all those kind of things, right? So we take care of them. Most High, remember, he said, I'm gonna take care of them. Okay, so this is how we'll take care of it. Our tithes, right, from everybody else, we bring our tithes and doing it, it will take care of them, not just the Levites. Who else it says? The stranger, the fatherless, okay? Those that don't have a father, because that's a lot of times with the source, okay? The provider. So if the provider goes down, probably going to struggle, right? Unless she left you a lot and you're well off. The widow, she don't have the husband, right? That's going to hurt the pockets, which are within thy gates. So these are people, individuals that a lot of times is neglected by society. They're the ones that's usually struggling a lot. And we give you chance that a lot of times they're the first ones that's going to be what? Going through these things. So the Most High is saying, I'm seeing even their condition. Bring the tithes that they will be able to what? That's within the gate. There she come. All right. Not talking about the heathen or everybody in the world. No, the ones that's within our thing, right? They come and guess what? They can eat and be satisfied. It ain't no, oh, well, I'm good. I got my time. I'm going to start enjoying myself, but then all the rest can't enjoy it. No, it's something that you want everybody to enjoy so they can be satisfied. They can be filled up. Okay. So if the Lord may God, that's what happens. That the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thy hand which thou doest. And this is how we get a blessing, beloved. It ain't just give it to, no, I'm trying to understand the blessing is bring it to the Lord, right? But when you're enjoying it, enjoying the feast, enjoying the Sabbath, whatever you're doing, right? Bring that offering. He's saying, I'm going to bless your works. I mean, you're getting a blessing even when you're bringing things for you and everybody else to enjoy. You get a blessing from that. Okay? And I know the church is wearing these kind of things out, but there is truth to it. All right, I'm not going to just neglect everything they're saying. They're using it sometimes for wickedness. All right. However, if you're doing it correct, it is a blessing attached to it. All right. This is part of what? Loving thy brother. Okay, as thyself, our sisters. This is how we take care of it. This is the community aspect. And this is how things can definitely get better if we're doing the instructions of the Most High God. Okay. Beloved, that's it on my end. Did anybody have anything they want to bring out before we close out? All right. If that'll be all to our online family. We say as always, shalom or shalom, which means peace, and yana habatham, which means we love you all. We truly do.